To order the regular meeting of the Coralville City Council. It's 6:30, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Here.
Vogelzang.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Freeman.
Here.
All council members are in attendance, as well as our City Administrator Hayworth, Deputy Administrator Hobble, City Clerk Johnson, City Attorney Olson, and several city staff in the audience. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So move. Second.
All right, moved by Vogelzang, second by Knutson. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, against, same sign. All right, agenda is approved. We have a proclamation for National Organ Donor Day. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts one human can give another is the gift of life, and whereas through the generosity of one organ donor, up to 8 lives can be saved, and the lives of 50 to 300 people can be saved or enhanced through tissue donation. And whereas thousands of lives have been transformed through the gift of organ and tissue donation, thanks to the selflessness of donors and the unwavering support of their families, and whereas more than 104,000 men and women and children are currently waiting for life-saving organ transplant in the United States, including hundreds here in Iowa. And whereas living donation provides another powerful way to save lives, with kidney and liver transplants being the most common forms of living donations, allowing donations to continue living full, healthy lives. And whereas every Iowan has the opportunity to make a profound impact by registering as an organ and tissue donor, which can be done easily at the Iowa Department of Transportation or online through the Iowa Donor Registry. And whereas National Donor Day is a time to honor and celebrate the heroic donors, their families, healthcare professionals, recipients, and countless individuals who advocate for the life-saving and life-enhancing impact of organ and tissue donation. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Lori Goodrich, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby proclaim February 14th, 2026 as National Donor Day in Coralville, Iowa, and encourage all residents to take this opportunity to reflect on the importance of donation and, if able, to register their decision to save and heal lives, ensuring everyone has a chance to leave a lasting legacy through the gift of organ and tissue donation. Signed this 10th day of February 2026, Lori Goodrich, Mayor. And we have 3 people here that are here to accept this donation. Would you like to speak? Accept this proclamation, excuse me.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Morgan Reimble. I'm here representing Iowa Donor Network. And on behalf of IDN, I would love to just thank you guys so much for this proclamation. Right now in Iowa, there are 594 people who are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. Last year alone, there was over 1,200 people who were tissue donors and 120 people in the state of Iowa who were organ donors who said yes to saving and transforming lives. So thank you so much for this proclamation. This truly helps in creating a donation-positive community and helping us to fulfill our mission of transforming lives through organ and tissue donation. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. Would you like a photograph?
Yeah, that'd be great.
On January 29th, the city of Coralville was recognized with 2 awards at the 2026 Greater Iowa City Better Together 2030 Awards Night. And the first was a Bravo Award for advancing Pillar 1, Champions of the Environment for the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Project. Coralville was recognized for restoring a healthier stream system, creating a new linear feet of waterway to restore the creek's natural sinuosity, and using sustainable practices to slow water down as it moves through the creek corridor. Sherry Proud is here to accept this award. It's a very neat artwork that was made using beeswax, and we will take a picture in just a moment. We'll have Sherry come up. Okay, I'll do that. There we go. So that was Pillar 1, Champions of the Natural Environment Award. And then the second award was given as a Tom Selleck Sizzle Award for collaboration. This award is named after local banker Tom Selleck, who is known for bringing people together to share ideas under an umbrella of energy and creativity. The award recognized all the people who were a part of the Local Option Sales Tax Committee. Local makes sense. For Coralville, the City Champions Committee worked with the North Liberty and Iowa City committees under one umbrella to promote and advocate for this initiative and celebrate all 3 communities together. I'd like to thank everyone involved with both of these projects, and they'll both make such a difference in Coralville. And for those who are involved, please come forward and we'll take a photograph. Sherry Proud and members of the Coralville City Champions Committee. I'm happy to see a few of you here. Stacy Hausman, Chairman. Eric Gissendander, Sunday Goshett, Keith Jones, Terry Kading, John Landon, Diana Lundell, Helen Sheets, Duhat Tawil, Rich Vogelzang, and Kelly Hayworth, Sherry Proud, and Amy Erickson. And here are, let's see, yeah, do you want to hold that? And Sherry might want to hold that. Yeah, yeah, Rich, you need to go up. Rich, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just going to see.
You coming around?
I guess I will. I guess I come around, yeah. I want to honor you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we're just moving on. The next portion of our meeting is the community comments. It's an opportunity for members of the public to speak directly to the council about items pertinent to the city of Coralville and does not have a scheduled hearing. Open meeting laws don't allow the council to engage in discussion or debate at this time, but we do appreciate hearing your thoughts and concerns. Please step up to the podium, sign in, stand close to the microphone, and speak for no more than 5 minutes. And we have designated for 15 minutes at this point in the meeting, and additional comments to continue after the consent calendar if needed. Is there someone who would like to speak with us?
Hi, I'm Judy McRoberts, and I've been a Coralville resident for 40 years. I've never spoken before this council, but these are difficult times. I'm here to ask you to remove the flock cameras. I know that your original intention was to protect Coralville residents, and I appreciate that. But the actions of the state and federal government have changed things for us. The cameras now represent a danger to our immigrant families and those who support them. I know you didn't intend to share the flock data with ICE, but I also know that the state is suing to make you do just that. That puts people at risk. As an example, let me tell you about what happened to a church pastored by Lee Brown. Lee was a pastor here in Coralville and helped grow the Coralville Food Pantry. She's now a pastor in Minneapolis, working with a church that delivers food to immigrant families. These delivery people have been tracked and followed and harassed by ICE. We don't want to see that here, and we definitely don't want the flock camera data to be used to do it. I believe that the only solution is to end the contract with Flock and remove the cameras. Please help us to keep our community safe by not gathering data that can be used against us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jill Dodds. I think everybody up there probably knows who I am, but for those who don't, I used to sit up behind that desk for about 11 years, so I know what that job entails for you. I would first like to draw your attention to my hat. It's inspired by Norwegian resistance to the Nazi occupation in World War II. The red caps were worn to symbolize hope and defiance. A campaign was recently launched by a yarn shop, Needle and Skein in Minneapolis, who is selling the patterns for $5 with all the proceeds going to support immigration rights. It's already raised over $650,000. The intent is to represent a form of quiet protest focusing on solidarity with immigrant communities and rejection of authoritarian tactics. I am speaking tonight regarding the letter from Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird's office regarding our automatic license plate reader policy. I quietly observed all of your discussions on the flock cameras last fall and winter. I had every confidence that this council and our police chief, Kyle Nicholson, would write a thorough policy that would protect our members in our community. Policy 427 does just that. Unfortunately, I found out and am now outraged regarding the letter from the Attorney General's office that they want to remove language related to strict access from our city website and removing a section 427.4.1 from the policy. These are the privacy protections you put in place. This section explicitly prohibits using data for immigration purposes or based solely on characteristics like race or sexual orientation. It is literally the purpose this policy was written for. So, this is where your job gets tough. Each of you were democratically elected to represent the constituents in this city. I am here calling for you to stand against this oppressive government overreach and stand beside and for the people you represent, those who rely on you, trust you to serve and protect their best interests. I understand that you will feel trepidation. We've all been raised to just fall to our knees, yield, and follow those who act in authority positions. But we must challenge and dismantle systemic inequalities, those that devalue and marginalize individuals. Inaction is no longer an option. So I'm asking you to stand up with courage, not fear, bravery, not cowardice. Now is the time, not the time to be passive. It is time to show your tenacity, your determination, your fearlessness and strength, your commitment to your elected office and the protection of your constituents. Fight back. And if you can't find the fortitude to fight, it will sadden and disappoint me. But if this is the case, at the very minimum, cancel the flock contract. Thank you.
I appreciate the claps. We only got 15 minutes, people. Brad Friedoff, 1329 Sweden Lane, Coralville. I think you're going to get this a lot this evening. I was very supportive of making sure Kyle Nicholson, our chief of police, had all the tools he needed to do his job in Coralville. That was until I found out that we were going to have to share that data with the state and the federal government. And unfortunately, in this day and age, right now, I cannot support the operational or strategic strategies that the federal government is using to deport citizens from the United States. Yes, I support they need to come in here legally, but we have deported a lot of people from the United States without the loss of civilian lives and American lives. And so I am strongly encouraging you to cease the use of our flock cameras until such time that we can make those decisions at the local level. I'm a proponent of local government, strong local government, and small state and federal government. Right now, I don't believe that's what we're getting. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Helen Bryce. I'm a 17-year resident of Coralville. I live here. My children have gone to school here. I've worked, volunteer, bank, shop, everything here. I'm also an immigrant, although, quote unquote, I did it legally, but thanks to a mistake with numbers, I am somebody who has been held in immigration detention. I would ask that you remember that I am the type of person that gets picked up, and I'd ask that you think about people like me as your neighbor who will be detrimentally affected by this decision. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Martinsick, Johnson County resident, former Coralville resident. I'd like to ask you to cancel the contract. Whatever you think of Flock's utility in serving Coralville, the state AG's request makes clear local ability to protect citizen data is more illusory than ever. Capitulation would send a clear message about lack of care for our neighbors and indeed all residents. Unregulated enforcement has been neither tidy nor careful nor safe. We have seen abundant examples of this. Neighborhood or nation, borders are permeable and have never kept out violence, especially when we invite it in. Please cancel this tool you know will be used against us, or else honestly acknowledge the price community will pay for so-called safety should you maintain the flock contract. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Roberts. I live in Iowa City. We had the chance to hear from the flock representative who confirmed by refusing to answer the question that Coralville's policy would not have any effect on how flock, the corporate entity, would be able to use the data collected. So the policy itself is not terribly effectual, but even the small protections that have been put in place are going to fall to the whims of our state government. We see daily violence, executions perpetrated by ICE, violations of people's civil rights on a daily basis on video coming from Minneapolis, Chicago, LA. And please, I'm asking, don't give them a tool to do that in our community. Abolish ICE and cancel the flock contract.
My name is Thomas Ryan. I'm here to speak on a similar issue. I don't want to have to believe that this contract entered into under rushed circumstances was done in an attempt with foreknowledge to collaborate with a government organization such as ICE and bring harm upon Coralville residents. I choose not to believe that, but the alternative is that it was entered with poor foresight, not understanding that something like this was inevitable to happen with such a contract, working with such a corporation. And I don't think this will be the first and only time that this information collected by these cameras is potentially used to bring harm to the residents of Coralville. And for that reason, like many others tonight, I'm asking that you please cancel the contract. Thank you.
My name is Fennick Coney. I've lived in Coralville for over a decade now. I am obviously here about the cancellation of the contract. I have been here before about the cancellation of the contract. I have lost so many work hours because I've had to come here about the cancellation of the flock contract. This is a matter of public record. This is a matter of public accountability. All of you who do not support the removal of these flock cameras after all of the information that has been made available to you, which we know has been. People have been emailing you. People have been coming here. People have been hand-feeding you the information and the proof that this is not going to be safe for us. This is something that will be used against us, is being used against us, and you who do not take them down now are complicit. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm here to ask you to cancel the flock contract. Just want to point out that the guardrails that you put in place, they've already been violated by the state, which we told you would happen. We've told you for months that that would happen, that regardless of whatever guardrails you think you're doing, the state doesn't care. You have repeatedly ignored your constituents who have practically begged you to cancel the contract repeatedly for months. And now you are in a position to either fold and capitulate to fascism, or you can take accountability, you can apologize to every person who lives in this city and every person in this room, and you can cancel the contract. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Dan Wohlers. I've been a Coralville resident for 25 years. I'm here tonight to once again talk about flock. I've stood before you multiple times over the past year to warn about the small increments in which our liberties are eroded. Each time I was told that Policy 427 was our safeguard, that it contained strict protections to ensure this mass surveillance would never be used for immigration enforcement or unauthorized sharing. Now we are seeing the promises used to sell this program to the community have been broken. The Iowa Attorney General's office has ordered this council to strike the clause that prohibited using our flock data solely for immigration purposes. The state is effectively demanding that Coralville leave the door wide open for federal agencies like ICE to use our streets as a surveillance dragnet. I understand that canceling the flock contract would still cost the city $36,000 over 2 years, but with the Attorney General now forcing you to hand our data to ICE, the true cost is not measured in dollars. I want to ask this council directly, how many Coralville families are you willing to see ripped apart for $36,000? How many of our neighbors' lives is this surveillance luxury worth to you? Furthermore, we have proof that even the policies you can keep are being ignored. We know that Coralville PD is sharing flock data with Cedar Rapids in violation of our own rules. If the department cannot follow its own protocols for local sharing, why should we trust that our data is safe from the security vulnerabilities I previously warned you about? The situation is now clear. The technology is unsafe. Flock hardware remains vulnerable to exploitation. The policy is unenforceable. Sharing all of our flock data with Cedar Rapids proves the rules are being bypassed. And the legal protections are gone. The state has stripped the one protection you offered to our immigrant community, essentially handing the keys of our data over to ICE. A surveillance tool that cannot be secured by local policy and is now being co-opted by agencies like ICE is a liability that the city can no longer afford. When the safety net we were promised is stripped away by the state, the technology itself becomes the threat. Do not just fix the policy to satisfy the state. Protect your constituents by terminating the flock contract immediately. Thank you.
Hello again, Ryan Swanka, resident of Coralville, about 10 years. As just stated, Iowa Attorney General's office is pressuring Coralville to remove a statement from our website and to amend our policy to strike section 427.4.1D. For those unfamiliar, this section details prohibited uses of our ALPR system. Sub-item D states and prohibits use solely for immigration purposes. Now, their argument is very weak. Their argument also reveals the lie. This lie, that ICE is removing dangerous criminals from our community, falls apart with this complaint. If Immigration and Customs Enforcement had evidence that these were criminals, if they had evidence that a crime was committed, they would be able to obtain a warrant, which would go completely around our policy. They would be able to manually request access to this data. Now, many of us, most of us, saw this coming over half a year ago. Council should have listened then. But one thing remains clear. We should cancel the contract. We cannot be forced to give data that we do not have, and no benefit to the camera use has materialized. 4 extremely disingenuous stories on the transparency portal and 1 glaring policy violation by our own police department are not enough. Mayor Goodrich, in an email to myself, you stated that it is evident that there are ways to show leadership and influence. You continued to say, "Here is where my heart aches. I cannot assure people that I can protect them. Under federal and state law, none of us can. I will not give people false hope." You can give us some hope, and you can give us some amount of protection. I ask that you utilize the powers vested in you under Coralville Code Chapter 15, Section 2, Item 3, to call a special session and hold a vote to cancel this disastrous contract. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? If not, we will move on to our regular meeting now. Number 7 is Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive Roundabout, which is a public hearing. This project will construct a single-lane roundabout at the intersection of Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive. The bid opening is on March 3rd, 2026. I will open the public hearing on the plans and specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive Roundabout. Is there anyone who would like to speak with us tonight about this? Are there any written?
No written.
Okay, thank you. I'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract, ordering bids, setting a date for the receiving of said bids, directing posting of the bid letting, all for the Heartland Drive and Commerce Drive Roundabout. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn. Aye. Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes. This resolution is approved. Next, number 8 is Lucky Pete Subdivision. This is for a multi-phase 15.38 acre commercial use campus west of Lowe's between 2nd Street and Interstate 80. There'll be 5 buildings, which include a 40,000 square foot e-sports arena and event center, a storage building, and 3 buildings that will be half retail and half restaurants. This development will have the required 467 parking stalls for the proposed uses. Consider the resolution, please.
Ordinance number 2006-1002, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009, if previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lucky Pete Subdivision, from C2 Arterial Commercial District to CPUD1 Commercial Planned Unit Development 1 District. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Huynh, seconded by.
Seconded by Knutson. Any questions about this ordinance? Roll call, please.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Ordinance is approved, all ayes. Number 9, 15-minute parking zones. This adds language to the parking ordinance that allows enforcement for 15-minute zones with proper signage on public streets. The immediate plan is to sign the 3 northernmost spaces on the west side of East 2nd Avenue between East 7th Street and East 9th Street. And then additional spaces will be added with appropriate signage for public streets. Consider the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 2026-1001, an ordinance amending Chapter 69 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville as previously amended regarding parking regulations. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Freeman.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Was this introduced for a first consideration sometime?
Last meeting.
Last meeting we had it.
Can I ask a question though?
Sure.
Yeah.
For these spots, are they already existing spots that are changing to 15-minute spots?
They're existing parking spaces that would be changed to 15.
Okay.
And
Near where the restaurants are?
yes,
Okay.
and then behind, on the alley behind the 2 strips of buildings as well, there's parallel parking, and there'd be one on each side as well.
Okay.
You said there will be. They're already there. I went there last night.
3 across from
Crispin Green. I
Yeah.
I had dinner there last night. Oh, those signs are already up. But they're not enforceable at this
right,
point.
correct.
Okay. I should have known that.
What is the enforceable measure? What happened if somebody parked there over 15 minutes?
Then
Do they get towed?
They would
Do
get a
they-
parking ticket.
A parking ticket, okay.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Ordinance is approved, all ayes. Number 10, electronic meeting policy. This policy states the City of Coralville will provide an electronic meeting option for members of all governmental bodies in accordance with Chapter 21 of Iowa Code. Meetings must still have an in-person quorum, and voting requirements are not changed by this policy. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the City of Coralville electronic meeting policy. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. And this is for what meetings? Do you want to explain that a little more?
Yeah, this applies to the City Council, the Arts Commission, the Board of Adjustment, the Civil Service Commission, the Library Board of Trustees, the Parks and Recreation Commission, and the Planning and Zoning Commission. And Chapter 21 of the State Code of Iowa requires that we provide this electronic meeting option for members of the body only, so this will not apply for staff and members of the public. And we're also requiring that we have an in-person quorum in this policy.
I know we looked at the policy at the last work session, but you were going to make a few little tweaks to it. Is that included in the packet?
It is.
It is, yes. The
Okay.
updates are in the
Okay.
packet copy. And I believe that the only one we really settled on was that the person who participates electronically
stay the
must be
whole-
present for the
okay.
whole meeting.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
just come for one vote.
Go ahead.
I do have a couple of questions. So, Chapter 21.8, asking that we make electronic meeting available, but it does not require by state code that only available to governing body and not the public, correct? Unless I read that wrong.
You're correct.
Yep. Yeah, it only requires the option be made available to the members of the body. It doesn't say anything about the general public at all.
When was that passed?
In the last session.
So last spring? Yeah, I think it went, yeah.
We didn't pass it yet. We would just provide with a
No, the
draft,
state
will we?
did.
Oh,
The state passed
the
it.
state code?
The state code, yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, looking at the state code, it said 21.8 subsection 1, paragraph A, stated that the governmental body provides public asset to the conversion of the meeting to the extent that reasonable. So that means that they are not saying that electronic meeting is prohibited to the public.
So what they're saying is if somebody's participating, I think that's what you're asking, somebody's participating remotely, the public has to be able to hear what the person who is participating remotely has to be able to hear what they're saying, how they're voting. And you also have to have a reasonable place to hold your meeting. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to hold it at the bar down the street or whatever. You have to have a place, reasonable access to the public, meaning that the public can, go there. We're not going to have a meeting in like somebody's office where there's like space for 6 people, something like that. So I think that's what we're getting at there. But it doesn't really speak to, whether the public on the meeting policy. I think that's maybe what you're getting at, and maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I guess my question is that, unless I read this wrong, meaning that if we are offering virtual meeting or electronic meeting, we should make that option available to the public if they want to participate. So if somebody wants to do public comment virtually, they would have that option. But our policy prevent that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but state code does not prevent that.
Correct.
Okay, so I guess my question is, why are we preventing that in our local, in our city code?
It was suggested by other cities that tried that and it didn't work for them. There was all kinds of security issues in others, and that's why we were proposing it as is.
So we don't have the infrastructure and the technology support to offer that option to the public at this time.
It's very difficult, yes.
Will we look into providing that option later on if things change?
Yeah, we could.
We
You
could.
can always change the policy.
Yeah.
It would just be an
I'm on-
amendment to the.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just a resolution, so you could change it at any resolution, you could change it later if that's the council's prerogative.
Intention, correct me if I'm wrong, but the intention of this is to provide an opportunity as kind of a last gap in case an emergency, if a member of the body could not be present in person, it's kind of a last minute option, right?
Correct.
That's the intent.
I think for me, we are in the 21st century. I think this type of technology is available, and knowing that we can support it because we have done it before. We've done it during COVID. We've done it just recently.
We didn't.
I'm sorry, could you please just wait?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. So I just, again, accessibility is something that we should really be serious about and take in consideration. So I would like to continue to explore options to see if we can offer, because I think now everybody have participated in Zoom meeting before, and the hosts have the power to control who can participate and who cannot, right? I would like to believe that as a city, we do have the technology and the support behind that to make that to make that happen. So that just.
We haven't done that before, but we can look into it. Is that how we can?
Sure.
So this
make
resolution is just open,
What
making sure
we're-
we comply with the
we're
state
making
policy.
this
And then,
first step.
then if the council wants to bring it up at a different time, that is their prerogative.
We'll put that on our list.
So since we're
Yeah.
talking about a draft policy here, wouldn't it make sense to point out all the things that we would like to be amended before that become a resolution to be on vote? Rather than have it become a written resolution, we vote on it, and then we have to bring it back to the table to make amendment to vote again. I guess I'm trying to see why wouldn't we want to work more efficient rather than inefficient. And then one more thing I wanted to point out on that is that per state code, it does not require for the presiding officer to be present in person. And the reason I point that out is because I used to serve on the Art Commission, and I am now serving as a liaison on the board of, the Library Board of Trustee. And I have known that for the last 5 years that I've served on those two board and commission, we have had many meetings where we held virtually, not completely virtually, but at least more than half of the governing body was virtual. I am not a voting member on any of those board and commission. And the meeting went just fine. The chair was somewhere in a different state, and the meeting went without a hitch. And so I would like to believe that as a city, we do have the power and we do have the technology and the support to follow state code.
I think that there was a suggestion because if the public is at your meeting and you're virtual, that it would be difficult to, if we have I'm just using this as an example right now. If we have a pan out here and somebody wants to talk out here and you're on a screen, it's hard for you to say who's. That was a suggestion that we made, and the suggestions we got from other cities is having the presiding officer, like if you had a pro tem or an assistant chair or whatever, have them do it because it's just easier, especially if you have the public in front of you and you're on a screen. Like you said, there's nothing in the state law that says that has to be the way. That's what we suggested, if I believe that, and that's what our suggestions from the other cities were, and other people we talked to.
Sure.
So that isn't, that's not a requirement either, that was just our suggestion.
Okay. One other question I have is that, have you talked to, the commission and the board that is affected by this policy, if it's go into place? Have you asked them, these suggestions? It's like having an in-person meeting format where, it had to have the majority, a quorum in person, where the residing officer had to be in person. Have we get feedback from any of the board and commission that is affected by this policy?
We talked about it at the work session our last meeting. We discussed it at our work session.
Sure.
I think the library board might be the one that has the virtual meetings. I think the rest of them are, and I'm not at the library board meeting, so that's.
Our commission also does sometimes.
So.
We had one board, the preference was not to even have virtual meetings because it's very difficult when you're taking tours and those kinds of things. So that was the opposite side but we don't have that as an option. So we'll have to figure that out too when it's not an in-person meeting, when they're on a tour, how to do that.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking at this as accessibility.
Correct.
Point of view. And so if we do have everything in place, we should really look at accessibility and make it so that we don't have to bring it back to the table and amend it and fix the resolution again.
I think this was the first step, and this was what people recommended from other cities, and so that was why we suggested moving forward with this as a first step.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for, taking the time to discuss this. So, but if we can make changes, do we make a motion to make changes, recommended changes, or do we keep this and then what?
I would support moving this forward and then bringing it back to a work session to discuss more, because I'm definitely in support of making meetings as accessible as possible. So that's, if we could propose to put it on the next work session and move past this.
There's some detail, sorry, I didn't
No,
mean that.
yeah.
There's some details in, if you're gonna allow public participation electronically, that we have to work out. Some cities don't allow public comment from, like the first part of our meeting, don't allow that electronically, and you have public hearings versus, so I think we kind of want to we don't have rules about how that all works too.
Iowa City was one of those that recommended, and they don't allow the public comments electronically anymore.
Yeah. I was going to say, the reason for proposing for the next work session is so people could have a chance to research like what it would actually take to do that and have data behind that, if that's possible.
And if we did make those, would that could be a different policy, couldn't it? I mean, this seems like a policy, and that would be a policy that involves the public.
Well,
This involves the people who are on the committee.
Yeah, you could either have that or just add it to this policy, one way or the other, but I think what we're suggesting is we adopt this as to comply, and then we come back, if we bring it back to the next work session to discuss the ideas that Councilmember Wynn talked about, or anybody wants to bring up. I think that's, like I said, it's just a resolution, so it's not like it's not like a whole a long drawn out process. We can talk about it at the next meeting, and then we can, if we can come to a consensus, then we can just bring it back at the next meeting, so that we have, like I said, I'd like to work out some of the details of the types of, participation, if that's the way the council wants to go. So I think there's just some details that need to be worked out.
There's clearly some mechanics to be.
Yeah, we got to talk to John.
It can be amended at a later date, if need be.
We need to talk to John too, to make sure we can get it all worked up too. So that's another item. But that's what we propose. I mean, and obviously you have the power to amend any resolution you want. So it's up. If you want to make a motion to do that, you can. That's just what we had suggested, that we go forward this and then bring it back to the next work session, and we can talk about the things that you talked about, and anything else that anybody wants to talk about.
I'd suggest we move forward with this, and so we can be in compliance and move forward.
Want to do that, or do
And I would certainly support anything we can do to increase accessibility, like you're suggesting. Thank you for doing that. And just make sure that it's not disruptive. I think many of us have watched online meetings where they get a little out of control and people are yelling over each other, and we just need to be confident that that is not possible.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think technology now allows that. That doesn't happen as often as it used to. We've all participated in meetings where you can hear and watch, but you really can't speak or anything beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, at this time, I'm okay with moving it forward, and then, have Kevin work on some of the additional language, and then bring it back for a vote again.
And if you have any ideas, shoot them to Ellen, Kelly, and I, and we can, before the next meeting too, or things you want us to look at.
Thank you.
What technology we were planning to?
We'd have to talk to John.
We haven't even talked to John yet?
We talked to him a little bit, but we have Zoom. You have Zoom and Teams. When we did COVID, we had like Zoom, I think. I don't know if Teams was even available at that point. And then we had the public. They came. We were all on a screen, and the public came here and made their comments.
And we
into
did
a
not
screen.
allow
It was
public
a
comment.
obviously. Don was in the other room, and it was a.
I was just on a League of Cities Mayors meeting, and they referenced this. We weren't allowed to communicate because of interference, they said, and that was just last week. So I don't know, maybe we can check with League of Cities too and see where they're at.
But I
we
would
will
be
try.
interested,
Okay.
sorry,
We'll
but I would
try.
be interested to hear what our staff say, John.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So, roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. 11 is Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank. May I have a motion to approve the change order number 6 and pay application number 14 from Peterson Contractors for Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank construction?
So move.
Moved by Quinn. Second?
Second.
Yep, second by Vogelzang. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This motion passes all ayes. Now we'll consider the resolution, please.
Resolution accepting the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank construction as completed. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Questions on this or thoughts?
Just happy that the project is done, and it's done in the way that we have intended, and we were able to pay for a lot of it using the stream bank credit. So,
so
it's a
when-
dream project came
Yeah,
true.
it's going to be really cool to watch grow. When this resolution goes into the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, then they will go through the process of approving just a little under 6,000 more stream credits. So that will bring us up to 30% of the credits released, and then each year after that, another 15% until we've gotten them all released.
Very good. Good. It's fun to take walks down there or even driving by on the highway to see how it's developing and growing. That'll be great.
Sherry, is there a way that we can make, like when it's warmer outside, can we do like a gathering or a commemorating of the finished project and just bring the general public out and
Yeah.
showcase that?
We haven't done one of those for a while, so I think last spring was the last time we did one, so we could do another one. Walk, bike, meet out there, people can take a look. Right?
I think that'd be great. Thank you.
Good idea. Okay. Let's see. Roll call, please.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. May I have a motion to approve the change order? We're not done with this part yet, so there's some more change orders. Number 1 and pay application number 3, pay application number 4 from Hardscape Solutions of Iowa for Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank. That's for final seeding and trees.
So move.
Okay, motion by Nguyen, second by?
Second.
Second by Peterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? A motion passes all ayes. So consider the resolution.
Resolution accepting the Clear Creek Stream Mitigation Bank final seeding and trees project as completed. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Vogelzang. Any questions on this one? Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. 12, Brown Deer Golf Course, Golf Superintendent and Assistant Superintendent positions. Consider the resolution.
Resolution approving an addendum to the Brown Deer Golf Club Maintenance Coordinator Agreement with Nick Leach. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Knutson. Questions? Roll call, please.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. B, consider resolution approving.
Resolution approving a Brown Deer Golf Club Assistant Superintendent Agreement with Andy Russo. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Vogelzang. Any thoughts? Okay, roll call, please.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Okay, the Coralville Recreation and Aquatic Center project. These resolutions will restart the process of selecting a construction manager at risk and securing a guaranteed maximum price contract for the Recreation and Aquatic Center project. Consider the resolution.
Resolution rejecting all proposals for the Coralville Recreation Center and Indoor Pool Project. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. What are we thinking about this resolution?
I think everybody knows how I feel about it, but, you know, I feel that we've done it and should move forward with our original proposal, but everybody's pretty aware of that, so.
I would not object to that either, Royce.
Royce, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
That we've already went through this process and should accept the first person that we accepted as the highest number with the lowest price point from the original committee.
How much will this delay the process?
We figure that we can, well, the design is continuing as we move forward, and we think we can get through the process in a month.
In 1 month.
Yeah.
So you suggest some addition, right? Sorry, Mike. You suggest some addition into the original project?
Yes, we would like to add to the project some of the items that have come up as part of the design. We've had significant progress made in regards to the type of heating and cooling system, that it would be a geothermal, and have found out that it would take most of the park to do the geothermal loops. And so as part of that, while we're tearing up the park, we would like to include that in the one contract, some of the park work, also including doing the new new pond, because it's also been determined that the pond is big enough, or could be made big enough to serve as the detention pond for the whole project as well. Originally, it was going to go to the creek directly, and it could go through the pond, which would be better environmentally. So we'd like to include that into the project. And the third piece we would include is electrical, because we're doing outside electrical for like the stage sound and lights that we use. And we would like to include the rest of the electrical in the park to, for example, for the food vendors, those kinds of places, that we would have all of the electrical. So instead of having a separate contract later, we would have all of it under one contractor to coordinate all of those activities.
So the scope of the project would not change, but it's just more addition into the original scope of the project.
Yeah.
So now, does that change as far as like engineering work, architecting work, anything like that?
No, we've got the engineering part planned for, and we have that. We were using the same consultants for both the park and for the building, so that's the good thing. Shoemaker Holland is the engineer, Newman, and the where's Sherry at? The landscape architect for both of them. Confluence is the landscape architect that both the building and the park were using.
And then continue to work with Newman Munson
Yes.
as far as architect to fold that part in as well?
Correct.
How much would that cost us to add that into?
Well,
the
it would be
original
moving it from what was going to be a future project into the current project. So it would be the same cost. It would just be out of what pocket we pay it out of.
I see.
So based on all the comments and the, describe it, and all the concerns over with the past process, I think it's best to start over and start from scratch again, and because basically you're incorporating additional elements into looking for a new bid, new quotes.
Correct.
So I would be in favor of scrapping the old process, start over. So I would be in favor of accepting this resolution.
Thank you. Mike?
I was still trying to assess, you said this could be done in a month, but I was thinking more of the whole end of the project time. And I think we were going to originally break ground this spring and go through 2 summers and hopefully open in the fall of 27, maybe? Does that seem about right?
No,
Has that
it's
changed
20
at all?
It's
with
2028.
28, so
Yeah.
2 years,
Yes.
2.5 years.
Yes.
Okay, is that changed at all with this delay?
No.
We still think we can get it done by that
Correct.
same
We
time
need
point?
to, we would continue with the design work that's going now
And still plan to break ground
in July, August.
July, August, so set back a little bit, but you think we can make it up?
No, that wouldn't be, that was the original schedule.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And total project cost would still be,
We would add in the park work that was going to be a separate contract into this one. So it's a little under $4 million of work that was going to happen in the park that would get added into this.
Which is the part we were going to try to raise funds for?
Part of it was, yeah.
Okay, okay. I think I can support moving this forward as it's written, but I do feel like we should learn from the most recent process, and I would like to ask for a bit more transparency, and just seeing like all of the information before it gets to like right before a vote. I feel like that would be beneficial.
And maybe we can start by understanding who's going to be on the committee this time.
We would put that together and come back to you at the next work session and talk about that.
Okay, I would advocate some turnover.
and we also don't put any limitation on who can enter the bid or anything. We
Correct.
open it to everyone, right? Okay.
I think one of the things we can also do is do additional work in soliciting contractors to participate, to make sure that they know about the process and project. And, I mean, we put it out last time on the contractors, what's it called?
Plan room?
Plan room, which supposedly they all get, but I think we could do more work in encouraging them to participate.
Also, is it possible per state code, city code, to have any of the sitting councilor to participate in, in that process? Obviously, we are all have a full-time job, so we don't do this day in and day out like staff. But are there opportunity for any one of us to be able to, be a part of that committee?
I think that's what we should talk about at the work session, how we plan on doing it.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Peterson?
Nay.
Freeman?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelzang?
Aye.
Quinn?
Aye.
Okay. It passes, the resolution passes, 4 ayes with 1 nay. Then consider the resolution of intent.
Resolution of intent to enter into a guaranteed maximum price contract pursuant to Chapter 26A of the Code of Iowa for the Coralville Recreation and Aquatic Center project. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen.
This is a requirement of the state code to use this form of contract, and you have to have a 13-day notice before you can do anything else.
So we put this in the room and then. You don't issue the RFQ until after the time period is set up. So we'll have to add the extra work and work through that process before it gets put out again.
Do we have time for comment?
Okay.
Okay. I just want to say that, thank you to staff for their diligent work. I know that we're all human and we do make mistakes. And when we make mistake, we should be brave enough to stand up and say, yes, we make a mistake and here how we can fix it. So I am encouraged to see that we are moving forward in that way. I would hope that we learn from our lesson and continue to, to be transparent and have accountability for really not just big project like that, but for anything moving forward. I think that's going to save us a lot of headaches. It's also, if we want to build relationship as we continue to bring work into the city and start working with company, we need to do our due diligence. And I would rather us do more and take time to do more and thoroughly than say, well, maybe we can change the process a bit. And so transparency and accountability and follow the process and procedure moving forward. I would appreciate that.
Roll call, please.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Just to make sure we're voting just on the notice.
Just on the notice, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution is approved, all ayes. I need a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, A through U.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Nguyen, second by Peterson. Roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes, motion is approved. Okay, we'll have this city administrator's report.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. I have a couple things. The Friends of the Library had another big sale again. I want to thank them so much for their volunteering. And I understand there were new volunteers, and the sale was last weekend. It goes Friday and Saturday, and they made over $7,000. And there's a new book walk that's installed at the North Liberty Park. The weather is really nice, so go out and check that out. It's along the trails, a book walk. And it's President's Day on the 20th, correct? Yes, so offices will be closed. Of course, garbage will be picked up the next day. And then there is also an opening on the Parks and Recreation Board, and those applications are due, I think that's the 20th too, or no?
Yeah, I think,
24th?
no, the
I should
the
look.
Friday of that week.
Okay, the Friday of that week. All right, so you can look it up. It's so great. We have Coralville.org now. You can look that up. That's all I have. City Attorney's report?
Nothing.
Nothing. Committee and council members. We'll start with Rich tonight. Rich Vogelzang.
Starting in the middle here, huh?
Yeah, I am. I mixed it up.
Shake things
We're
up.
mixing up.
Just want to follow up. Thank you for doing the proclamation for the Iowa Donor Network. It's an organization supported, not physically, but it's a fantastic organization and provides a lot of help to many people. It's very easy to register as a donor. It's an organ and tissue donation. It's very easy. You can go to the website at iowadonornetwork.org. It takes a minute to register as a donor. DMV will put your donor designation on your driver's license. There is an office in Des Moines and also in North Liberty. So it's something I highly urge everybody to do. February is also American Heart Month. There are, and again, for more information, you can go to heart.org. There's about 350,000 cardiac arrests each year that occur outside of a hospital setting. And of those, about 70% actually happen at home. Snow shoveling and mowing lawns and things like that can contribute. Of that number, only about 41% of people who have experienced cardiac arrest actually received CPR prior to the arrival of emergency responders. And less than 12% who have cardiac arrest in public were treated with a bystander-applied AED. Now, there's a big push for AEDs throughout the community, and you've probably seen them. There are yellow boxes that are mounted. There's one right in front of Convention Bureau on First Avenue and 9th Street, right? 9th Street, yeah. The first seconds and minutes are absolutely crucial if someone has a cardiac arrest. Those minutes are extremely important. I would urge everyone to learn CPR. You can go on heart.org and you can actually learn hands-only CPR. Anything is better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing. I want to commend the Coralville Police Department. Their officers are first responders in our community, and they are EMTs. So we are blessed to have them as resources in our community. And that's one of the things that I've always said, and I will continue to say, that people in our community typically I don't think they understand the quality of emergency care, health care, emergency services that we have in our community. And it's something that we take for granted too often until it's needed. And then obviously we want it right away. But please, take a minute. If you're not already certified in CPR, if you don't have, just take a couple minutes, learn what you can. Along with that, there's an app that you can download on your phone. It's called Pulse Point. Pulse Point app. And the way it works is that if you are within, I think it's a quarter mile, Chief, I think it's a quarter mile in public, if there's a cardiac arrest, you will be notified if you register as a CPR qualified individual. You will be notified. You'll also be notified of where the AED is in your location, and they'll walk you through on how to get access to that AED. So, in the past 24 hours, there have been 153 notifications where CPR was needed. Of that, then there were 691 bystander alerts that went out to people who were in that area. Something that I've always heard, people, what happens if I don't do it right? Would I be liable? No. The answer is no. Good Samaritan laws are in every state, and as a Good Samaritan offering help in a time of need and time of emergency, you will not be liable. And again, there's as you walk around or you go around the community, just kind of pay attention maybe where the AEDs are. If there are some in the community, there's one here. If there's an opportunity in your business to provide an AED in your area, please do so. You can contact the Johnson County Ambulance Service. They can help you get one in there. Lastly, I want to thank Josh Schomburger and all the entire staff of Convention Bureaus, Think Iowa City, the entire staff of the arena. What goes on in that arena, the staff, what they do is, in my mind, just absolutely incredible. Last weekend there was so much activity there with all the wrestling, and Josh and his team are busy and bringing in more and more activities. It was just announced that the Iowa Girls State Duel will be coming here in January of next year. It's another great event. So anyway, I want to publicly thank everybody that's involved with the arena and all of Josh's team for everything that they do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Knutson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to start with thanking you for appointing me to the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I attended my first meeting with Royce a couple weeks ago. Just let everybody know they're starting their long-term planning. They're required to do that every 5 years and update that. And certainly if you're not in the plan, you're not eligible for the funds, as I'm sure our staff knows. And we'd be happy to take any projects back to them. It's just getting started. I think that the time frame was over a year to finalize that. So we have lots of time, but it's certainly going to be a lot going on with that organization, and we'll plan to report on that. I want to second Richard's support of Iowa Donor Network as somebody who helps take care of transplant patients. You can certainly see the life-changing events that those patients get when they get a solid organ transplant. And I want to thank.
Donations also include blood donations.
Yes, we try to advertise that every blood saves a life. That might be a bit of a stretch, but solid organ donations. When you see somebody who needs a lung transplant because they can't breathe, or needs a second lung transplant, those are the patients I tend to see. It's heartbreaking to see what they're suffering through. Liver transplant, everybody knows about kidneys. Those are a little bit easier to come by because we have 2 of them, but and they survive longer. But they're still in great need because a lot of people are in renal failure, undergoing dialysis, which is a huge quality of life deterrent, I guess. Anyway, so certainly appreciate that proclamation, and also appreciate all the people who voiced their concerns about the Flox cameras tonight. Have to say, my thoughts since we not discussed it, really hasn't changed. I was concerned about the process at that time and the timing. At that time, I would say, when I referred to the timing, I was talking about immigration enforcement, and I really, at that time, last fall, had no idea how far it would go, I would say. It's gone far exceeded maybe my worst thoughts about how far they would go with that in terms of shooting people in the streets. Everybody says citizens. I don't care who they shoot. I mean, if they're killing somebody, whether they're an undocumented or documented or a citizen, it's wrong. And people want to emphasize that these were 2 U.S. citizens we lost up there, of course, but they were also 2 humans. And we're losing, far more people in who are getting shipped off and dying in detention. And so all that to say, I would support bringing that discussion back for a vote, up or down vote on those Fox cameras. And that's all I have.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilmember Freeman.
I did have my first Arts Commission meeting. I don't have anything to report because I'm going to say I just don't know anything yet. So give me some time to learn what I need to bring to here. I do want to bring up, so yesterday I spent my day in Des Moines pleading to a subcommittee for HSB 664, which is the proposed legislation that would make the Iowa Civil Rights Act, the protected classes that they now have, be a ceiling rather than a floor, meaning they want to cap local cities and counties from being able to have any additional protected classes outside of what's in the Iowa Civil Rights Act. So this is specifically meant to target places like us and 17 other communities. There are 18 communities within the state of Iowa that have a human rights ordinance or commission that recognizes gender identity as a protected class. So I went there yesterday to represent myself, but also to represent us and our community, since this is something that you all, before I was up here, said that you supported. And so I was there to speak on that. Unfortunately, it moved out of subcommittee, moved forward, and will be going into committee. And there was another bill that I did not get to speak at, but I was there to try to also stop, which is HSB 669, which also moved out of subcommittee. And this basically removes conversion therapy as recognized as abuse. And so therefore, no parent, biological, foster, caregiver, anybody will no longer be held accountable for forcing their child through conversion therapy, and that doesn't even need to be at a location, that could just be at home. So that also moved forward. I don't know the number of it, but another one that moved forward was getting rid of no-fault divorce, which is, I don't know, 60 years or something like that. That's been around, which is proven to put folks, especially in domestic violence situations, at greater risk of being able to leave those situations. So yesterday was not a good day. And I think I would like all of us to become familiar with what's going on at the State House, because I think a lot of it is going to affect us. The library law, I can't remember that number, but not allowing our public schools to be able to lend from our public libraries anymore. I went stating that it was an extreme overreach of power, that we should be allowed to govern ourselves and meet the needs of our community as they have come forward and asked us. So I guess wanted to share that update. And then I'm going to jump on the bandwagon with Mike, since he brought up Flock, and just say that I also, though I wasn't on council at the time, I have been opposed to Flock all along, and I can't stand on the side of hurting people. So I would be up for that, coming forward for another vote as well. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah. Also, wanted to reiterate the Iowa Donor Network proclamation. My wife's had 4 kidney transplants. We've had 2 children. They told us we'd never have kids, and if it wasn't for her transplant, we would have never had kids. So it's very dear to my heart, and I believe that everyone should do it. And everyone in my family has a yes on their Iowa donor, or on their donor area on their driver's license. So it doesn't, you don't think about those type of things until it actually affects you, right? And then you realize how precious it is. And, she's been on dialysis several times. I've watched her go through it, and it's not easy for anyone to go through that and watch somebody go through that. So, and, I as well, I'll say that when I voted for the Flock stuff, I was on the fence from the beginning. And with the way the state keeps continuing to take away local control from our cities and our counties continuously, I also feel that the way it sits right now, that, if this would have been the way it was back when we voted for it, I would have voted no. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of things. Thank you to everyone who come and speak. Email, text, call. Your voice matter. Continue to speak up. Just like I said, we all have a full-time job. I can speak for my colleague, but I know that I'm really bad at replying back to email. I just don't have that kind of time. I'm better in person. So if you want to speak with me, find a time, give me a call, we'll go grab coffee, whatever that may be, walk in the park. I'm way better at that than sitting down trying to craft an email to respond to you. But that doesn't mean that I don't read your email. I read every single one of them. word for word. Really think about that. I was up until 2 o'clock last night because the email kept coming in, right? And I know that I have a full day of work today, starting at 8:30 until 6 o'clock. There's no time to squeeze in any of the other email. So like the last 15 minutes, as soon as work is done at 6, I'm trying to read all the email that came into my box, after 2 o'clock last night. So thank you for voicing your voice. Sometime I know that it feel like it fall on deaf ears. I can assure you that it's not, because we are talking about it here. That means that it does not fall on deaf ears. Something you should all know that government work really slow. There are processes and procedure that we have to follow. I wish sometime that we can just wave the magic wand and make things happen, but it doesn't happen that way. And there is procedure and processes in place for a reason, right? So we continue to do that. Follow the process, do what is right by our community, one thing at a time. From the very beginning, when ALPR was brought to the table, I have so many reservations about it. As an immigrant, I am not safe. I have never been safe, regardless of how long I've lived here. My children who are born and raised here are not safe. You all are not safe. No one is safe right now in this current climate, and that is the truth. Whether you want to hear that truth or not, it is what's happening right now in our country, in our state. And it could happen here locally if we are not careful. I don't have a solution. I can tell you that. What I can do is to find a way to protect our community. And right now, ALPR is not a tool that we need in our community. If the political climate has been different, this might be a great tool for our PD. And to say no to this technology does not mean that we don't support our PD. We support them, but support comes in many ways. Support doesn't mean blindly signing the paper and call it good. And we heard from countless of you, and we have seen from neighboring city how things were being taken out, how local control is being taken away from us. We are trying to put in safety measure to protect our constituent. And it is being turned, by state law, who do not want local community to be safe. So at this time, I don't think this technology is right for us. And I would be in favor to bring the contract back to the table to have a vote. Yes, we'll lose out on $36,000, sorry, math. It's not a small number, but it's a number that is not worth any human life. Not right now. We have 2 cameras installed already. There was 6 slated. I would like for those 2 to be removed. Not just cancel the contract, but having the physical camera removed. Because we have learned that Flock as a company, even when their contract is severed, they continue to operate, they continue to have their camera running without oversight. And I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that in my community as a community member. So I'm asking all of my colleagues here to reevaluate. And I would like to bring that to have that on the agenda by next meeting, because this matter cannot wait any longer. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen soon. And the next time that it can happen is the next meeting. And I really hope that it will be on the agenda at the next meeting. It is difficult for me to forget not forget, but to not think about my immigration status. I came here legally, but that is beside the point. No one will leave their home country if they are safe and prosper. No one. I can promise you that. I personally have known so many people risking their own lives just so that their children can have a better future, just so that they themselves, as a family, can have a better future. Nobody take that kind of risk lightly. I can assure you that. I come from, a line of people who, there's history that written of the people that suffer, that die at sea, trying to find the true freedom. We shouldn't be the judge here. We shouldn't be the judge of who should come here legal or not legal. It is not for us to judge. As neighbors, we should open our arms and help people when we can. They have to live with their decision. If they choose to do something bad, they have to live with that decision. We can only help to change people by doing the good. But clearly, our state and federal do not think the same. We have so many different organizations locally that trying to work to support our immigrants, to make sure that, when they showed up at check-in, when they follow the law, the rules of law, that rule of law apply to them as well, and not just apply to the people who would be in favor. If you have never accompanied an immigrant at a check-in, I would ask you to do it just once, so that you can feel that tangible fear of walking in there and not knowing if you would come out. And mind you, this is at the mercy of the agent that conduct the check-in. Whether you get a day until your next check-in, or a month, or a year, or 10 years, at their mercy, and how they feel that day. That's the reality that we live in. It's heartbreaking. I don't know what to tell my children. I don't know what to tell my neighbor who look like me. I don't know what to tell my colleague who belong to marginalized community. I can't guarantee their safety. The only thing I can tell them, and the only thing I can tell you, is that we have to work together to create a community that we want to live in. And I hope that each one of you, with me, with all of us here, will link arms and make Coralville the best, the most welcoming, and the safest that we can make as a community. I'm with you, as long as you're with me. One other thing that I'm going to ask you is that whatever happened at the state level in Des Moines and in DC affect us. What happened here affect you right away, like directly have an impact. But what happened in Des Moines and in DC also have an impact here. It hinders our staff to do their job, to provide for the community. So exercise your voice there as well. Pay attention to what bill is being introduced, just like my colleague Katie just said. There are so many bills on Monday that cause so many harm to each one of us. regardless of which community you belong in. So go home tonight and look up the bill list. It's terrifying. One more thing. February is Black History Month. I want to, use this moment to urge you to take some time and learn why February is Black History Month, and then also, just educate yourself on the contribution and the suffering that our Black community have gone through and continue to face to this day and will face in the future as long as racism exists. So February is Black History Month. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Nguyen, second by Knutson. We need, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?